What's up? Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. Today is the Friday Q&A, and hopefully the sound and everything's going to work. I see we have kind moderator Lance there asking, what is the marshmallow test? And that is a great question. We're going to get into that in a second. I have a few announcements. I expect people will trickle in as time goes on. So I'll go back and revisit the announcements over and over again. And over again. So that'll be cool. Couple quick things. So number one, my course, my premium course, 5-Figure Niche Site, it comes out next week. The enrollment period is only open for 1 week. So it'll open up on Monday. You'll have 5 days. If you want to enroll, take some action, you can get into it. Now, the thing is, there's a lot of information about the course, and I'm not going to talk about it too much today because there's just so much to talk about. However, there's a lot of information that you can get if you're on the email list, and you'll get that email on Monday. So keep an eye out. Other things, if you're interested in a content workshop and hiring writers, there's a couple links for that over on 5-Figure Niche Site. Frequently asked questions. Undoubtedly, we will hit a lot of frequently asked questions today. They are frequently asked just in general. And basically, there's a lot of them that I've already answered. So I'll probably defer to some of the written word that there are links for below, but I'll answer a few of them just because some of them are just so common. There are a few affiliate links in there. So if you use the links, I get a commission. There's a couple themes linked up. There's basically a Pinterest traffic webinar that is attached to a course. Very good course. I've gotten some feedback from students already. People seem to like that really well. And there's some other stuff out there. There's a few questions that were sent in. I'm going to answer those as well. So Duke's on, another moderator. Steve says you like the campfire test. Not familiar with that one. Patrick, what's up? And then Arthur is on also. So I think we'll slowly get more and more people. What I'll do, because I actually had a couple questions from last week that I totally forgot to answer. So I'll go ahead and answer those. So there are 3 of them. One is, do I have any methods that I care to share regarding keyword research for higher volume terms? You've done a lot of keyword golden ratio posts, and you want to begin targeting larger volumes. All right. So basically, yeah, you can go to, there's a link in here, and it's for the niche site process. And I talk about selecting keywords and the keyword volumes that you may be interested in. And basically the methods to find other keyword research, the methods to find other keywords, you just use any keyword research tool. You find the ones with a higher search volume. You probably do some competition analysis. I would recommend that as well. I know some people, some other, niche site folks and affiliate marketing people, they say you don't even need to do keyword research. It doesn't matter about the competition. It doesn't matter about anything. Just publish good content. You can, make that successful. All right. A lot of people do that. But from my perspective, it's better to put the time in a little bit ahead of time and, have a little bit more certainty if things are going to work or not. That said, you can basically just do analysis on the competition where you look at the quality, the length. There's actually a lot. I have a spreadsheet for 5-Figure Niche Site, which is comprehensive. It gives you a pretty good idea about like the competition for a specific keyword. That is just within the course. Next, we have Kelly's on. Good to have you on. Steven, what's up? You say marshmallows and campfires go together. Okay, very good. Yeah, and once a few more people hop on, I will talk about the marshmallow test. Mark in the chat has a question. Tima, Wesley, what's up? So Mark says, how do I feel about video testimonials and reviews? I feel fine about them. Maybe can you refine your question? I don't know actually what you're asking. So how do I feel? I'm indifferent. I don't care about video testimonials or reviews, but maybe you have a deeper question that I'm missing? I'm quite literal with these questions. I'm like a robot or something. All right. And Duke is saying you can throw a basketball into the hoop blindfolded too, 1 out of 100 times. Yeah. And the point being, like, if you don't do any research, you may get lucky. But most of the time you're wasting your time. Okay. Next is from Belinda. Belinda has noticed inconsistent results when doing an all-entitle search in Google. Belinda is not in the US, so she's using google.com/NCR, which I think is like no cookies or something like that. And the number is different as she like checks over and over again. So I've heard that a lot, even within the US. So just from like one location or IP address to another, people may find different results. I've heard that often. Personally, I don't usually double check. Maybe that's stupid. I don't know. But usually I just get the result, put it in the spreadsheet, move on to the next. If you double check, like I said, I hear people do get different results. That probably matters, right? We're working with a formula. You have different keyword search volumes out there too. So, like, what do you do when you get different results for the all-entitle? Well, I would probably just, you know, pick the higher number and move on. All right. I don't know. And if you keep checking it, you may get different results every time. I don't know if there's much value in refining it. So, like I said, I just look one time and then move on. So, if it fits, then it fits. If not, it doesn't. So, if you want to double check, triple check, or do more checks than that, it may or may not be valuable. Now, if you are outside the US and you want to just make sure you're getting the US data, I would recommend, getting a VPN service, US based server, and then at least you have that going on. All right. Then last, URL length, another one from Belinda. I understand the shorter URLs are better. However, the KGR tend to have longer tail keywords, longer phrases. Would I still be able to use a long tail keyword as my URL, or must I shorten it? What's more beneficial for ranking? So the length of your URL isn't like a specific ranking factor to my knowledge. If it could be, but I doubt it. So I would say it doesn't really matter. I've done both. I usually tend to put shorter URLs. So it doesn't really matter. Try them both. I mean, if you want to take a couple of the stop words out, shorten it up a bit, I think that's fine. It's not going to make a huge difference. All right, cool. So I see we have some more questions coming through. I'll just say hi to a few more people. There are eager folks wanting to know what this marshmallow test is. All right, so you get as many marshmallows as you can. Try and stick them in your mouth. No, I'm just kidding. I think that is a thing, but that's not the test that I'm talking about. So in the comments, if you're watching the replay, or in the chat, let me know, are you familiar with the Stanford research and this specific experiment with a marshmallow? Let me know. Just curious how many people have heard of this. All right, I'll take a quick look. Stephen, what's up? Pete Kelly is asking about comment level. Come back to that shortly after I do this marshmallow stuff. Tima says, you missed the last week's live stream. Did I finish the FAQs page? No, it's exactly where it was last week. But I mean, I think it's like 5,000 words of content. So plenty of reading, even though I didn't quote finish it. It's going to be an ongoing thing, by the way. Lachey says, hey guys. All right, blue fuse is on. And let's see. Okay. All right. So let's do the marshmallow test. Now I put a link to a James Clear article. This is about delayed gratification, by the way. So James Clear is a blogger and speaker, and I think maybe a few more things, but I like his writing. It's very clear and concise. You can find a lot of different stories on the marshmallow test, but I'm going to refer to this one because it was written pretty well. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll sort of explain like the experiment and the results. So yeah, let me know if you've heard of it and stuff like that. So this was back in the 1960s, and a Stanford professor was doing a bunch of psychological experiments with his team, During his experiment, they tested hundreds of children, most of them between the ages of 4 and 5, and they revealed what is now believed to be one of the most important characteristics for success in health, work, and life. All right, so here's how the marshmallow experiment worked. The experiment began by bringing each child into a private room, sitting them down in a chair, placing one marshmallow in front of them. And at this point, the researcher offered a deal to the child. The researcher told the child that he was going to leave the room, and that if the child didn't eat the marshmallow while he was away, then they would be rewarded with a second marshmallow. However, if the child decided to eat the first one before the researcher came back, then they would not get a second marshmallow. So the choice was simple. You get one treat right now or two treats later. To break it down in terms that I could understand really well, this would be like if I went to a brewery and I sat down, and the bartender put a beer in front of me and said, I'm going to leave for a few minutes, and if you don't drink it, by the time I get back, I'll give you another beer for free. And they would leave for 15 minutes. What would happen? Well, if it was hot outside like it is nowadays here in Bozeman, then I maybe would drink it. You got to weigh your options. But in general, that's how it works. All right, let's get back to the experiment. So the choice was simple. You get one treat now or two later if you wait. So the researcher left for 15 minutes. So they were actually like videoing this. So the footage of the children was pretty funny. You could find this on YouTube, by the way. So some of the kids like jumped around, and others ate the first marshmallow as soon as the person left. Others like wiggled around and scooted, and they tried to restrain themselves, but eventually gave in and ate it. And then a few of the children did manage to wait the entire time. And this was published back in 1972. And it wasn't this part that made it like so famous. The researchers like tracked the children as they grew to adults, and they did follow-up studies over and over again. And what they found was like very surprising. So the children who were willing to wait and delay gratification and wait for that second marshmallow ended up get all this stuff, all right? Higher SAT scores, lower levels of substance abuse, lower likelihood of obesity, better responses to stress, better social skills as reported by their parents, and then better scores in a range of other measures. Now, quick caveat, as I was doing research prior to this, I was seeing a bunch of other sort of conflicting research over the last couple years, very recent stuff published this year as well, where they challenged the results. I think it's valid, right? So I haven't investigated so deeply, but apparently there could be other factors. But I'm gonna tie it together. That's okay. All right. So the researchers followed each child for more than 40 years, and over, the group who patiently waited for the second marshmallow succeeded in whatever capacity they were measuring. In other words, this series of experiments proved that the ability to delay gratification was critical for success in life. And again, James Clear says, if you look around, you see this playing out everywhere. If you delay gratification of watching television and get to your homework, then you'll learn more and get better grades. If you delay gratification of buying desserts and chips at the store, then you'll eat healthier when you get home. If you delay gratification of finishing your workout early and putting in a few more reps, you'll be stronger, and so on and so forth. Obviously, I'm mentioning this because this applies directly to affiliate marketing and the stuff that we're trying to work on, right? We're trying to, build a website. We want it to happen faster, but I mean, the people that end up being successful are extremely patient. They're not trying to do this in like 6 hours or 6 days or 6 weeks. They're thinking like 6 months, 6 years ahead of time. And usually on a long enough timeline, you can make decisions that are a little bit smarter, right? You're not making decisions for like 6 days from now. You're thinking, 6 months from now, 6 years from now, a little bit further out. So James Clear further says, success usually comes down to choosing the pain of discipline over the ease of distraction. All right, I'll read that again. That's a really good line. Success usually comes down to choosing the pain of discipline over the ease of distraction. It's a good line. I mean, it's rough because we don't want pain. Discipline sounds bad, but I mean, that's literally it. I would much rather, go outside and hike around and, drink beer all day, to be honest with you. But that really doesn't get me closer to reaching, some goals that are really important to me. So the discipline does come into play. Now, there's more that James mentions, but that is the sort of overall point, like delayed gratification. Like if you can put your, distracted mind on hold and sort of take control and do the things you need to do, you'll probably be more successful. It's not guaranteed, of course, but you're probably going to have a better chance at success. All right. So cool. I'm going to hop over to the chat and see what kind of questions we have coming through, and let me know if this is interesting to you. All right. This is a little bit different than what I normally do on the live streams, but I thought I'd mix it up a bit, try something different. Okay. Kelly says, using your backlink method using comment love for blog commenting, is it still applicable? Yes, it works fine. Is it do follow? Not many of them, but some of them will like be do follow links. I find that, something like 10% or something like that, 5-10% end up being do follow. If you do enough of them, you'll end up with a handful. Would Google penalize you for this eventually? No. If you're doing this in a manual fashion, you shouldn't run into an issue, especially doing 20 comments a day. No, I don't think you're going to run into an issue if you're leaving, like, first of all, not all the comments are going to go live. If you're good, it may be 50 to 75%, something like that. If you're good at leaving good comments and that sort of thing, and you have good targets, you'll be all right. But no, in general, there are going to be no follow links, and in general, those are not going to count against you. So if you do 20 comments a day for, an indefinite amount of time, that may, have some impact to, your anchor text ratio and stuff like that. But in general, if you do that for 1 or 2 months, that's probably going to be fine. All right. Troy says, my YouTube channel I was doing all my affiliate marketing, got deleted. What should I do with all my videos? What's the best option? Should you self-host them on your website? They're weed related. Why did they get deleted? Is it because they were weed related? And then I know there was some discussion about this. I have no clue. I would check with a video person. But yeah, I suspect if you host it on your own, then that would be the way to do it. Okay. Mark says, this is the follow-up because I didn't understand the question before. Do I think video reviews can give an affiliate site more character, trust, or uniqueness? Yes, to all three of them. Does a video review have a stronger impact than a text review? It depends on the viewer or the reader. So if I personally believe that if someone's searching for, best ballpoint pen, they're closer to making a purchase than if someone goes over to YouTube. Here's the problem with YouTube. Someone searches on YouTube, or they Google something and end up on YouTube. All right. And then they maybe watch the review, but they're on YouTube, which is basically trying to distract them to go watch another video versus go make a purchase. So my thought is a text review. I have no way to substantiate this, by the way. My hunch is a text review probably has a higher likelihood of having a consumer that is ready to purchase. And on YouTube, people are watching things. Now, I'm not sure. Now, I think the character and trust and uniqueness, all that is true, but I don't know if a review will have a stronger impact. If someone loves a video but they hate reading, then the video is going to be better. So it may be hard to, outthink the person because you don't know who they are yet. Okay. As I'm going through. Okay, so a lot of people, it seems like 50-50. Some people have heard about the Marshmallow Test and others have not. Yeah, so let me know in the comments if you're watching the replay, or let me know live if you enjoyed that sort of motivational type of story. And Troy says, would it be best if you're making your own website, or can your website get deleted also? It's unclear to me. I'm not 100% clear why. I mean, I don't know much about the weed industry, the marijuana industry, or what you can and cannot publish. So I'm not really sure. So I would just make sure you're following. I mean, if you know why it was deleted, which if you want to give more details, it sounds like there's better discussion here. But basically, if you're doing anything on someone else's platform, you're at risk to like lose it, right? You could lose everything. Can your website get deleted also? Generally, no, but it's unclear to me, what you were doing. If you're doing something illegal, then yeah. So I'm missing something for sure, Troy. Sorry about that. All right. Mark says, what if I ask my customers to leave a video review? Okay. Maybe offer something for doing a video review. You know what? I'm not 100% sure what you're trying to do. I'm sorry, Mark. And I know there's some discussion with Steve in there. So yeah, I don't know. You can ask your customers to do that for sure. Yeah. You could ask them to do whatever you want. And see how it works. And then you can adjust after that. All right. Crypto says, how many articles that are well researched will it take to get a good amount of traffic, and how long until you would see results? What's the average length per article? All right. So I'm going to make a lot of assumptions to answer your question. All right. So I'll give you a little bit of a timeline. I would say launch your site, publish 10 articles, and depending on, the quality of the articles, the amount of, information in there, how useful they are, and if they're KGR articles, that's keyword golden ratio, and the keyword search volume associated with them, you may be able to get a good amount of traffic within, say 3-4 months. If you publish more content, if you publish 50 articles, you'll probably get a trickle at the beginning, just like if you publish 10, but then as you go further out and you're spending more time on it, you'll probably get a lot more traffic. The question, good amount of traffic, is fairly arbitrary. So I'm gonna turn it around and ignore the traffic numbers and focus more on the amount of money you can make, because that's probably what you care about. So recently, I talked to a few students of 5-Figure Niche Site. And by the way, there's going to be 4 success stories from students coming out next week. So keep an eye out for that. Adrian is one of the folks that I talked to. He has about 14 or 15 posts. I think 15 posts. He just hit his first $100 month, and his site is about, I think it's about 8 or 9 months old. Now, he worked on it pretty hard for the first 6 months or so, and then he sort of got busy over the summer with work, and he hasn't been putting much time in recently. So to answer your question, you can add, 10 to 50 articles is probably a good place to aim. And then after that, you can see traffic within 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how much work you put in. And then you can see significant traffic, without qualifications, right? You can see significant traffic within 4 to 6 months. And depending on how much content you have, the length, the quality, the amount of really effort that you put into it, that'll dictate whether you're going to be making $100 in 6 months or, $1,000 in 6 months. In the last, probably 6 months or so, I've seen several people hit like the $1,000 mark within 6 months, which is quite fast. I mean, they were specifically doing KGR content and doing a really good job, putting up the content, writing it, or having it written, publishing it, and that sort of thing. The average length per article, at a minimum 1,000. Longer is better though. All right, Bluefuse says, wondering if I mix other affiliate programs into the sites or just keep them pure Amazon. If there are other programs out there that seem interesting and viable, then I would add them in there. I usually stick to Amazon most of the time, even if it's like, you know, even if the other affiliate program pays, 50%, probably going to convert better and make more money on Amazon. Not always, but yeah. And Lachey says affiliate marketing does take patience, but with that, with my method, the keyword golden ratio, it can be cut in half. Thanks for saying that. I think that's true. All right, I'm trying to catch up on the chat here. Atif is on. What's up? Hi. How's it going? All right, I see some question about free books, PDFs, and I don't understand it. Maybe you try and rephrase it, or if someone can clear that up for me. I don't know what you're asking. Tima says, you agree with Duke, mentioning that it was encouraging, but what do you do when you don't feel like working after waiting for too long? All right, Tima. I mean, sometimes you go take a break, right? So if you're waiting too long and you're frustrated, it's usually a good idea to take a break and then come back with like a fresh mind. But if you're doing something and it's not working and you're not adjusting, then that's probably bad, right? You should be adjusting and trying to get better, figuring out mistakes that you're making, and then stop making them. So, yeah, hopefully. Hopefully you can be patient and then regroup and then come back to it. Josh says, at what point do you say, okay, this is just a bad niche? I would say, within 6 months, one should know. However, here's the problem. If you don't have like a good system, if you're new and you've launched a site, you could have a fantastic niche with great content and you're doing like 80% of everything right, but you've missed one thing. I've literally like been hired to, coach someone. I'll go take a look at their site, can tell them to do, five tweaks, and within a week they'll start bringing in more traffic. And it was literally like, some sort of on-page issue, like on-page SEO issue, keyword stuffing, something like that, where they just didn't know. Like, so if you don't know what you're doing, which is okay, like everyone starts off not knowing what they're doing, but if you don't have a guide, if you don't have like a framework, which is what the course is, right? If you don't have a framework that you're implementing and you don't know if you're doing the right thing, then you may have a great niche. You may have everything right, except for like one or two things. So it's hard to say. But if I was like in a niche for like 6 months, after I'm doing the things that I know are correct, then I would probably realize that there's something wrong. Hopefully that's helpful. Kelly says, will Google downrank you if you have too many affiliate posts? Yes. Or too many affiliate links? Also, yes. Could that be why some posts have gone to page 3 and below? Yes. That can be exactly why. And that is a classic case. Actually, I reviewed a few people's sites, and that is one thing that happens. Too many affiliate links. I mean, and when I just look at it, I don't even have to read anything. I could just scroll through it and see there's way too many affiliate links. Steven says, there's a service called Page Optimizer. You could use it to compare your post to other people's, and it'll give you suggestions. Cool. All right. And Blue Fuse says, you woke up and checked your Amazon account and noticed that somebody bought something for like $800. Awesome. Congrats on that. All right. And Duke says, Page Pro Optimizer was revealing to you. Cool. Pete says, Marshmallow Test is probably one of the most important lessons to learn for success in almost any business or field, but often the most ignored. Totally. Yeah, completely agree. People, especially in this industry, people are in a hurry. They want to do everything fast. But if you like remove that constraint, which is a real constraint, right? Some people may not have time, but if you remove that constraint, then you can make decisions that are, I mean, literally, they seem smarter instead of approaching it like, oh, how can I get this site to rank as quickly as possible? If you think, how can I provide the best information and be smart about keyword research and take my time? Well, then you can. I mean, everything changes at that point. Okay, so Troy says it's joint paper and a rolling machine, but it's only because YouTube has cracked down on weed stuff. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I would check with Vimeo. I think there's a couple other web hosting or sorry, video hosting platforms out there. Of course, like the big advantage with YouTube is people use it as a search engine. You could actually get a lot of traction just on its own. But with Vimeo, I mean, they will have they will have needed to land on your site, most likely. Very few people are like using Vimeo for discovery. I host videos on Vimeo for stuff that I need to control. As I mentioned, if you're on someone else's, platform on their rented land, um, I mean, if something's free, what do they say? If something's free, then you're the product. So like Facebook is free, Instagram is free. You're the product, right? Like that's the deal. So same situation with YouTube. If you're using something for free, then everything, I mean, they can just take everything away. All right, cool. Um and XO says how many is too many affiliate links in one post? Pretty sure that is one of the frequently asked questions. Let me can someone verify that? Basically, less is more. How many should you put in one post? Depends on how long the post is. If you put, I'm going to just throw out a number. If you put one affiliate link per 250 words, you're going to be in really good shape. All right. And as we scroll down, we see. All right. And Lachey says, you hit your first $100 month 4 months ago after you got serious with this. Fantastic. And Lachey, you were a coaching student there for a short period. So I'm glad to hear that. I do some one-on-one coaching if people are interested in having your site audited or let's see, Josh. So Josh Graham, if you need someone to actually look at your site and audit it and tell you what's wrong with it, tell you if it's a good or bad niche, then that the one-on-one coaching is what you need most likely. Atif says your 450 keywords are in the top 100. It's a new site. Which type of link should I concentrate on? I would aim for guest posts. So yeah, that's what I would do. Crypto says you have 17 articles. It's 3 months old. You're seeing 0 to 3 organic traffic per day. Your articles are 100 to 35 words in length. Okay. And I think there may be a question somewhere in there, isn't it? All right. Kelly says, will Google crawl content within accordions and tabs? Yes, they will. Steven says you added a KGR article a couple days ago and it's already had the most amount of clicks in the webmaster, Google Webmaster tools or the search console in the last 7 days. Awesome. And as we're scrolling down, and Wesley says, is there a dating site for SEOs? You're going through a divorce and may need one. Sorry to hear it, buddy. Hopefully it's a good move for you and the family. But yeah, I think it's a lot of it's quite male heavy in the SEO industry. If you check my analytics on like YouTube, it's something like it says it's like 90% male. So Kelly, and some of the other ladies in the crew here, there's not many. All right. So, but yeah, keep a lookout. Maybe that's a niche site for you, man. All right. Okay. Crypto says you have 17 articles. You're getting 3 organic visitors per day. There's 5 articles on the front page. The site's about 3.5 months old. Are those normal results? There's not really like a solid normal. So I'm going to say if that was a person in the course, in the 5-figure niche site course, going through the content at the speed that they were, like working through the course material along with how quickly we're getting it out, I would say that's low. That's extremely low. I think there's probably a mistake. You've probably made a few mistakes along the way. 3 organic visitors per day is pretty low, in my opinion. For example, actually, let's do this. Wesley Duke, I know of your sites and stuff like that. You were doing the keyword golden ratio, 3.5 months. How much traffic were you getting? Let me know, guys. Wesley and Duke, if you're able to. Appreciate it. And thanks all the moderators. Everyone, thank the moderators. If you have the ability to hit the thumbs up, that'll be great. Really would appreciate that. And if you're watching the replay, you can also hit the thumbs up, leave a comment. If you're watching this live, you could also leave a comment later. You could watch this 3-4 times, like that sort of stuff. Well, you know what? I don't know if it helps, but that's what people say. All right. Duke says, Google mentioned that they no longer considered tabbed content and hidden content with mobile first index rolling out. It's not a ranking demotion. Okay, cool. Sam, haven't seen you around in a while. That's cool. The question is, will writing 30 articles on your site get you traffic after some time? Assuming they don't rank in the top 10. Maybe, maybe not. All right. If you publish articles, all right, here's the raw, like real answer. If you publish articles that no one's searching for and that no one cares about, then no, no one's going to search for it. No one's going to read it. No one cares about you or your site or anything. They want to get information and they want to be helped by you, right? So if you're not helping them, you're not writing anything interesting, then no, you will not get traffic. Even if you publish 3,000 articles, you probably won't get any traffic. And if they don't rank in the top 10, it's highly likely they're not going to get much traffic. If you write, all right, let's flip it on its head. If you write 3 articles where you're helping people and it's interesting, there's some reason for them, and you're trying to help them, then you probably will get some traffic, even with just 3 articles. I highly recommend you use the keyword golden ratio. Hopefully that was helpful. Crypto further asks, you're going to post 30 articles and then step back and see if it grows. Is that the right thing to do? What do people think? So crypto is not getting too much traffic. There are 17 posts, 3.5 months old. Let me know in the comments too. Feel free to add that in the comments. Each article is 1,000 words to 3,500. So should he or she add 30 posts and see what happens? All right, here's my take. I think, yeah, add more content. That's a good idea. Use the keyword golden ratio. However, I encourage you, before you do that, to go figure out what the problem is. Because if you just post 30 more articles and you're not getting traffic, there could be some flaw and you will have just wasted all your time. So figure out what's going wrong with the first 17 articles, fix it, get more traffic, and then don't make that same mistake again. So you made potentially, right? I could be off, but potentially you've made a mistake 17 times. Do you want to make that same mistake 30 more times before you figure it out? Then you'll have to, fix it 47 times instead of just the 17. So I encourage you to figure out what the problem is before you accelerate your issue here. All right. And Other Doug Bluefuse says the Marshmallow Test makes you think about application to services like web design. For example, smaller monthly payments versus the bigger traditional payments, delayed gratification versus get it now. Interesting. Kelly says, do I recommend using a table first with the top 10 affiliate posts with 3 links per row, or is that too many links? Yeah. So top 10 affiliate posts. All right. So a couple things. I don't recommend 3 per row because then you're going to end up with just a shitload of affiliate links. So don't do that. Put like 1 per row. Then you don't have to put 10 things in your table. Even if you have 10 things reviewed on the page, you can put however many you want in the table. All right. So you could put 3 in the table, 5, 7, any number up to 10. 0 to 10 is how many you could put in there. So it's totally up to you. But yeah, if you're putting in a table, it's a great way to put way too many affiliate links, and don't do that. Pug says informational articles that answer simple questions, can they be 1,000 words in length or should they be stretched to 2,000? They can be either. I highly recommend that you provide a concise answer, right? If it's a short, simple question, give them a concise answer, 1 or 2 sentences at the top. With voice search becoming like more prevalent and just people like using like voice recognition on their phones or devices or whatever it is, highly recommend giving a concise answer, more likely to be picked up. I should probably do a video on that. I don't know much about it, but I mean, if you're trying to get a quick answer to a question, a simple question, you don't want a 20-minute explanation. You want a quick answer, and then if someone's super interested, they could read more. Right. Tima says you were very patient for a while and you stuck with 2 niches that didn't work no matter how many changes you made for 4 years before moving on. Okay. You're super patient. And I'm going to say if any of this took me that long, I mean, I'm fairly patient. I like long-term goals and stuff like that. But 4 years, my wife would have been like, dude, stop wasting all your time. Like, just stop. And I probably would have gotten discouraged way before that. So small wins, super important. So hopefully you were able to reach some success, Tima. No clue. All right, Pete says, do I do anything specifically to target Amazon conversions on mobile? No. Mobile is the majority of traffic and it seems to be growing. Yeah, I don't do anything specific. One or 2 quick tips I can give you is don't put affiliate links in your images, because if someone's looking on their mobile tablet, they won't know to click on the image. So I would suggest that you leave a, call to action in text, which is what I typically do anyway. So by default, I sort of like, I didn't do it on purpose, but the simplest implementation was, fewer images, fewer affiliate links, put a text call to action, get the right traffic on your site, and then leave it at that. That's going to be fine. If you put an image, like people just don't know that they're supposed to click on it, is an affiliate link. You can still put images, of course. All right. Wesley says at 3 months, you only have 10 or less organic per day. Oh, wow. That's way lower than I expected. So perhaps he's in the right ballpark. Duke says both of your sites were at 50 visitors per day at the 3-month mark. That is with 50 or so articles. Okay. So it all depends. Sandina says that their site is 3 months old and you're getting about 10 to 18 per day. Cool. And Wesley says you only had 15 articles at that time. Okay. So I think there's a big correlation between the number of posts and then the amount of traffic. So if you just have more KGR posts, you have 50 posts like Duke, you're going to be getting like a lot more traffic. So it looks like you're probably getting about 1.25 visitors per day per article if you're using KGR stuff. So that said, crypto, you're probably a tad off. You're a little bit low, but I'm not sure the kind of content you have or the quality or anything like that. Hopefully information from actual real other people helps. Because I just talk sometimes. All right. Sindina says you have 22 articles. Duke has one site has about 40. And okay, cool. Kelly says, with regards to too many affiliate links, should I take a break and do KGR how to's for a while and then do internal linking to your affiliate post? Yes, 100%. That will almost guaranteed like bring you a lot more traffic, push your rankings up. Yes, do that. All right. And Steven says most of his site, most of his sites have been about 5% KGR and you're ramping that up. Cool. That's really going to pay off. And Crypto says you're pretty sure you know what the mistake is. All right, great. Let us know what happens. Let's see. Going through and good questions today. If people have the opportunity to hit the thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. It looks like we got about 16, or leave a comment later. All right. And it sounds like people do kind of like the marshmallow test kind of content. I like it anyway. I like talking about that stuff. And as you read more, I mean, I read a lot of marketing books, and they're kind of on the edge of like, some of them are on the edge of like self-help, um, productivity, a lot of productivity kind of books. These studies come up a lot. And as you read more and more of these books, you see like the same studies come up over and over and over again. And it's interesting how the studies are reframed so it fits in the book. So even though it's like the same study, you become more and more familiar with it. And then, you know, how a different author may interpret it in a different way to make their specific point. So anyway, I like that kind of stuff. I'll probably start adding more of that in, especially to the Q&As, since I feel like that sort of content can be great to add into it, add to the discussion, versus just pure Q&A. Plus, we have all those frequently asked questions, which, by the way, if you're just joining up, welcome. There are frequently asked questions in the description, and there's a link over to Niche Site Project. And one thing I may do is just we'll test it and see how it goes. I may just like create a video for each one of those, read the content on the page, link over to it, like just to push people over to to Niche Site Project. Additionally, it's interesting. YouTube is like a content machine that just like chews up your content, and then maybe, people will keep finding it, but they sort of incentivize you to keep publishing more and more, more views, more watch time, even if there's like super similar content. So if you look at my channel, you'll probably notice I've done, presentations on the same topics over and over again. They're all slightly different. They're pretty close to the same, but they're all slightly different. And, each one of those gets views, and people could find different ones. Some of them are going to get like better metrics here and there. Now I'm just rambling on. All right, let's see what we have back in the chat. Yeah, and keep the questions flowing. All right. Sam says, you've been getting 50 bot visits a day. Is it hurting my bounce rate? I wonder if anyone has already answered that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I feel like Google probably knows the bots, but I don't know. All right. And oh yeah, I forgot Duke was on the Human Proof Designs podcast. So that's cool. I meant to plug that. Duke, feel free to put the link in there. And it's around the thought that Kelly mentioned, and that's basically the content clusters. Is Duke, or Duke, did you make that up, or is that some other term that's been thrown around? But basically, it's kind of like creating a silo of content, and then interlinking in a smart way. And I think that's what Duke has done. I haven't had a chance to listen, but everyone go have a look over there. And Lachey says, this may be against Doug's method because he likes to do sprints to see what mistakes he makes. But since you're familiar with this, you're starting site 2, publishing 150 to 200 articles before the year's end. That's awesome. And I think, laying that kind of groundwork is is great. Now, and the thing is, I like to do sprints to learn like what we're doing, and I'll mention like to learn from our mistakes. But once you've gone through a process and you have it, tied up pretty well, and you've tested it, then you can, Duke's doing the same thing, adding a ton of content on sites. Um, and it can work out fine. Now, for example, my wife and I are launching a podcast. There's a link in the description called Survive the 9 to 5. We've recorded, I think like 8 episodes or so, but we've only released 3 so we can get some feedback. And I appreciate the feedback that people have given me. Few people have sent me emails, really appreciate that. So I know, we don't know what we don't know until we know it. And then now we understand like some of the issues that we were having. Luckily, it's mostly minor stuff, but we'll be able to react to that. So instead of, we could have put out eight podcast episodes all at once, but then we would have made the same mistake 8 times or 15 times or however many we recorded. But instead, we did 3. We're gonna, pause for a second, get some feedback. There's no rush, like I was saying. If your timeline's long, then it's okay. You don't have to like launch a podcast and, try and do all this stuff to potentially create buzz. We're just gonna, try and do a better job on the next set and do a better job overall. All right, cool. So Lachey, I think that's cool. Oh, and Duke says, yeah, you're doing the same thing. All right. As we scroll down, we see Interesting Find says you lost all your rankings when Google started to send your HTTP to an HTTPS version. Any ideas? Your rankings are hurt. You went from 400 a month to about 100 a month. Yeah, so basically you need to fix that in the Google Search Console and then set up some redirects on your site. I recommend that you go read up and study on that. You need to do that. Yeah. So it's just a problem to solve. You should be able to recover that really quickly. All right, cool. Arthur says, my website is over 14 months old and you're getting 370 visitors a day. That's great. You still have only made 2 sales. Any idea or helpful suggestion what to do? All right. So couple quick things. It's really hard to give that sort of feedback, Arthur. I would recommend you get your site audited by someone, if not me, someone else. All right. But I could go through, if you're getting 370 visitors a day, potentially, right, I would expect that your site would be making, 200 to 2,500 a day, something like, or not a day, a month. If you're getting 300 visitors a day, right? If you're getting that much traffic, you should be able to make some decent money. So the main reasons why you may not be making any sales, you could have the wrong traffic, right? You can have a lot of traffic, but if they don't care about buying anything, then not going to be helpful. So if you're getting your traffic from, say, Pinterest or Facebook, they may not be interested in making a purchase. They maybe just want to look at your website. So make sure you have the right kind of traffic, people that are interested in buying stuff. The other thing is you may have like just really poor affiliate links through your site. But with 370 visitors per day, I feel like you should be able to make some tweaks and turn that around to make some pretty decent money. Sindana says, do I think it's best to improve existing content or target more KGR articles while you wait to get out of the sandbox? Your site's 3 months old and you have 22 posts. There's no right answer to that one. I think in either case, it's probably going to help. What you probably need to do, and the thing is, whatever you don't do, you're not going to know. So it's okay. Whichever one you pick will be fine. If it were me, I would probably do a blend. I would probably look at the post, maybe like the top the top 25%, let's just do 80/20, the top 20% of your posts that are pulling in the most traffic or the best rankings, improve those. And then the other half of your, effort, spend it on adding more posts. So I would split it up and do a blend. Most of the time, that's the better thing to do. All right. And Duke posted his podcast interview over Human Proof Designs with Dom Wells, one of my friends. He's actually one of the interviews within the 5-Figure Niche Site course. There's a set of interviews with successful folks. So yeah, I did an interview with him way back. Patrick says, but Doug, JDL, John Lee Dumas says, I have to be successful in 8 weeks on new and noteworthy or else I'm done. Indeed. Yeah, and that was, I remember hearing, and from multiple years back, if people have done some podcast work, and I know you have, Patrick, basically, there was like a pretty good strategy, right, to publish, like launch your podcast with basically as much content as you could, you know, work with like a launch team, a street team, with your existing audience, for example, try and get as many downloads and reviews and positive reviews in a short time to hopefully get on new and noteworthy. And it may as well. And Duke, thanks for taking care of that. You could just kick that person out completely. Yep. Actually, yeah, just kick them out all the way. Thanks. Really appreciate it, Duke. Keep in order. The trolls are showing up apparently. So basically, I had that in my head to like do a big launch, but basically, it seemed like maybe there wasn't a huge benefit from it. Maybe there is, right? To get a new and noteworthy would be crazy, but the competition level is like much higher than it was a couple years ago. This is funny. I thought about starting a podcast back in like 2008, 2009, but I was like, oh, you know what? There's a lot of competition out there already. I probably shouldn't get into it, which is crazy now that I'm thinking about it. Like 9 years ago, if I would have been doing anything like for 9 years, be pretty good at it by now. All right. And let's see what we can do. Cool. All right. Next, a couple other questions. Oh, Brian's on. What's up? All right. Sam says, you don't want to build links. Any suggestion on what I should do? You want your rankings to grow organically. Income School recommends that you write 30 reviews and then leave it for 6 months to a year. All right. Does that work? I recommend you go ask Income School. All right. If they recommend it, then you should check with them. I think waiting for 6 months to a year to see if something works is a long time, and you can get quicker wins faster than that. What I recommend is you build links. All right. You get it out of your head. You don't have to build links directly, but just go and try and promote your site, go and network out there, let people know that you're doing something. You want your rankings to grow organically. Yeah. So if you don't want to do any link building, maybe just follow the Income School guide. I'm not 100% sure what it entails. Not 100% sure how they do keyword research, but I know they have a ton of videos and they're very smart. They're great guys, Jim and Ricky. So I would follow their guide if you like what they're saying. Kelly says, when do you do your second site? Income School has some interesting thoughts. Cool. And can someone, I don't know exactly what they are recommending, but my general suggestion is to focus on one site and make it your 100% focus. You're going to, be less distracted. You'll be less overwhelmed. There's overhead and administration and cost for every new site that you set up. And even if you only spend a little bit of time on it, it takes up space in your brain. And trust me, it will stress you out. And I've done a few things where I've like tried to start several sites all at once and it drove me crazy. definitely was stressed out. So I would recommend at least at least until you're making a decent amount of money from your first site. And I would say that's probably $1,000 to $2,000 at least, because at that point you have figured out, like, to I forget the person's name, but if you can like figure out how to do something successfully, well, then you can go ahead and get started on your next one. But for example, if you publish 30 articles and you've made some mistake that you don't know that you've made, you leave it for 6 months to a year, and then you don't get traffic, but you've started a few other sites, you've just made, again, the same mistake multiple times. That's bad. You don't want to do that. You will get better if you stop making the same mistakes. So there's no set amount of time to make your second site. Once you know how to build one site, then you can start your second one. All right. Xavier says, what does my audit consist of? Well, it depends on, it's really a consultation with me. So basically, and feel free, anyone who has spent time with me on such a consultation, to explain like what you liked or didn't like. But basically, I look at your site, I look at your on-page SEO, your off-page SEO. I look at your keywords, your competition. I pull the reports from you from SEMrush and Ahrefs. Can take a look at your competitors' backlinks, your backlinks. Take a look at keywords, filter down to like something that is a little more concise, so you don't have like 10,000 keywords to look through. You have like 200. I record the session, give you like an action plan to execute, and then I post it on Vimeo privately, and then you're able to check it out. So had a few people do that in the last few weeks, been super helpful for them. And there's a hire me page on Niche Site Project. So you could find more information there and send me a message, Xavier, if you're interested. $247 for an hour. And I may tweak some things, so it'll only go up from here because of the extra stuff that I'm now doing. So if you're interested, it is expensive, $247 for an hour. However, when you think about it a different way, let's say you let's say you're thinking that you're going to invest $1,000 on your site over the next 6 months, and you're also going to spend, say, I don't know, 10 hours a week over the next 6 months. That's a lot of hours, like 250 hours, something like that, right? So you're going to spend a lot of time on your site, and it's very worthwhile to understand what you're doing right and wrong before you spend all that time and money. So even though it's $250 an hour, it could save you like time, which is hugely valuable, or it could save you money if you realize, hey, these are bad keywords, or these keywords are not going to convert for me. Here's better keywords, that sort of thing. Or if you're making like some mistake that can be fixed, for example, too many affiliate links, then and you don't know, or keyword density, something like that. All right. Hopefully that helps. Xavier and Patrick says, nowadays you're competing with NPR, big networks, and yeah, 2009 would have been awesome. Arthur says, can you PM me? Sort of. You could send me an email if you go to nichesiteproject.com/hire-me. You could find that pretty easy. So you can send me a message there, more information about an audit. Marcus says, it's a keyword question. You understand where to buy blah product can be a decent keyword for niche sites. I don't really recommend that. I'm not sure why you think that, but if you do for a specific reason, you could be right. I usually would never go for that. How would you go about writing such a post? Me personally, I wouldn't do it. Somehow I don't see how you could write 1,000 words on that. Okay. Yeah, I would avoid that. Pratt Mesh says, does Dave ask for a link to the money slash review posts while doing outreach with nonprofit sites? I don't think so. No, I think he asked for a link to the coverage. Marcus says, oh, this is awesome. All right. Marcus says, by the way, you can confirm that starting several sites will make you go insane. It's really much more on your mind than you think. Yes. And everyone thinks they can do way more than they can. Most people. Some people don't, but most people think that you can handle way more. And actually, and let me break it down for you some. So I had my previous job. I was a project manager, a PMP. I worked for like big corporations and stuff like that, and I managed about six, anywhere from like 2 to 6 projects at a time. Usually, like the average budget was in the few 100,000 to half a million, and then a few of the projects were um, maybe like 2 to 10 million was the biggest project that I managed. You can imagine there's a lot of people involved, and they last for a long time. So at any one time, I was managing like a few projects when I was doing project management. Um, so I mean, there was a lot of complexity and things going on, and I was doing other work as well. All right, so there's also, aside from the project work, there's also some other admin work that I was doing also. So a lot of things to handle. And then for a little while, I had teams working for me. So PMs managing the same kind of projects that I just mentioned, but I had like around 8 to 15 of them working for me. So I had to keep up with each one of them, met with them often, and then each of their, not every single project. I knew of every single project that they were working on, but I didn't necessarily know the details. Maybe like one project per person, I knew more details on. And the reason why I'm telling you this is I've managed complexity. I'm sure some people think, I can handle it. I'm very smart. I've handled a lot of complex things going on all at once. And you totally can. And I've done this in the past, but seriously, managing multiple sites is really, it's very stressful. Maybe part of it is like, you own 100% of everything that's going on, versus when you work for a company, there's, layers of management to help support you. But if you're the only one, then it makes it way more difficult. Further, Duke says you've been blogging since 2011. You can personally only handle 3 sites total. Even then, the projects get delayed and you don't work on all of them constantly. Yes. And the thing is, you end up, things take longer than you think. So like as I go through stuff that I'm trying to do, a lot of times stuff just takes longer than I expect over and over again. Thus, you end up with stuff getting delayed. All right. Sam says, screenshot videos and using them as your pics on your site. Does that violate anything? I don't know. It depends on a number of factors. Potentially, you can get away with it for fair use, but here's what I recommend: don't do that. Sam, your questions point me towards making me think that you're looking for shortcuts. So stop looking for shortcuts, stop being lazy. And like, this is going to take some time. You may have to do some promotion and link building. Like, you're trying to do less work. If you try and do more work, you'll probably learn more. You'll be in a position where you're like accomplishing more things, but you're trying to do like less and less. That's a bad thing. So I would recommend you change your mindset some. All right. Riyadh says, you mentioned in my ebook on ultimate Azon themes, is it still valuable? And you see that there's no review recently. Currently, I'm not recommending ultimate Azon theme anymore. Which Riyadh, sorry about that. Which ebook? Is it the new PDF? Because I was going to say, in the last couple weeks, I got in touch with a developer, and basically he's working on a new project and isn't going to support it as much. So that's why I recently started recommending like the REHUB theme. It's recommended by Amazon Associates, so that's a pretty solid one. But yeah, because of the lack of good support on the Ultimate Azon theme, not recommending it anymore. And it looks like the life cycle's over. So if you're still using it, I think it's fine. I mean, if it's trucking and it's working for you, you're in good shape. But Riyadh says, your question is, can you start a site using the Ultimate Azon theme? Yeah, you can use any theme you want. I don't recommend you use the Ultimate Azon theme. Check out REHUB or any other theme. There's actually a link in the description for this video for frequently asked questions. One of them is about themes. I suggest you go read that. It'll clear it up. Sorry if that's still in the ebook. I literally republished the ebook and updated the blog content, but I didn't update the ebook yet. So, all right. Sam says, thanks, but you're on a tight budget. All right. Look, you can't get anything for free. So if you're on a tight budget, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to save up. And I don't know what to tell you. I mean, like I said, your questions all point to and shortcuts and cheap and all that stuff. And you're in a hurry, but you don't want to do any work for it. So, all right, I get off my soapbox on that. Go back and listen to the marshmallow story again. By the way, just to give credit where it's due, the telling of the marshmallow story, James Clear, there's a link in the description. Another bald man, seems like a good guy. Really clear writing, a lot about productivity and stuff. Go check it out. I didn't read everything from the post. I just sort of took a couple highlights and some passages that I thought that he stated really well. And Sam, by the way, just trying to give you a good push. All right, Pramesh is out of here. See you later. All right, any other questions popping up? And if not, we'll get out of here. And I see Riyadh is asking something about keyword using allintitle. I don't know what your question is. It looks like a cutoff there. So, all right, any other questions out there? Cool. Shia says, how do we do KGR for AdSense? It's the same. It doesn't matter what you're using the keyword golden ratio for. It's the same research. In your niche, the CPC is a bit low for that amount of traffic. You're ranking for about 400 keywords. So I don't do AdSense stuff, but my hunch is that you'll get more traffic than you think. So just there's no difference. That's my suggestion. All right. See you, Patrick. Good chatting with you the other day. Good suggestion from Duke for Sam to use free stock images and screenshots from videos. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, you don't need product images, by the way. So, all right, cool. I think that's all we have. And I'll just hit the other quick announcements. If you have the opportunity to hit the thumbs up, that's appreciated. And if you get help from this, if you could share it with other people, that would be great. We only had 20 plus people, maybe 30. We don't have that many likes. I think people like these, but if people aren't showing, or if more people aren't showing up, then I may have to spend time elsewhere, right? So if this isn't paying off very well and we just get the same kind of questions all the time, I'll have to revisit it. So the marshmallow test and those more productivity kind of things could be interesting. I do appreciate Duke and the other moderators like Lance. But yeah, if you could share this with other people that you think would find it helpful, that'd be great. Sean says, what do you currently rate as the most important aspect of SEO? On page, links, or content, or other? I think it's probably pretty, look, it's just my opinion, but I think it's probably pretty close, content and backlinks. So I was just shooting some more videos for Five Figure Niche Site for the upcoming enrollment period, and current students will get the new updates, by the way. Basically, I believe, doing further like competition analysis and looking, you can see that, great content along with the backlink seems to have like the highest correlation. Rank Brain is, part of the machine learning AI system that helps rank. It's unclear exactly how it plays in the whole scenario. Probably has something to do with like, the user and visitor metrics and that sort of thing. But if you have really awesome on-site SEO, great content, you could probably do really well. And if you added good backlinks to it, you probably do better. Same thing with the backlinks. If you have okay content and then you have killer backlinks, if you go and improve your content, probably going to help a lot. So I believe it's a pretty solid blend, or pretty even blend. All right. Riyadh says, can I use the stop word in the URL and title? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Yoast says that you can't use a stop word in the title. So Riyadh, I think Yoast is a terrible tool for what you're trying to do. Here's my recommendation. Go ask Yoast what he thinks. Read stuff on the blog. If you want to use the Yoast tool and you want to follow their directions, then check Yoast out. I wrote in the frequently asked questions. Everyone, please check out the frequently asked questions. Bottom of the description, there's like 5,000 words plus of content there. I talk about Yoast told me to do X. What should I do? And basically, I'm telling you, don't listen to Yoast. But for that specific thing, stop words in the title and the link, you can do whatever you want. I already answered that question earlier today, so I highly recommend you rewind it and see like what happens, right? Rewind it, see what I say. My answer was probably better there. Marcus says you would maybe do the Q&A less often. Good suggestion. All right. And Duke got to boot his first troll today. That's fantastic. Lance, thanks a lot for showing up and moderating as well. All right, cool. I think we're out of here. Do take a look at the frequently asked questions. There are probably questions that you haven't thought of yet, or questions that I've already answered like 3 times today. Those are the ones that we put on there. And yeah, check it out. A lot of good info there. Remember, 5-Figure Niche Site comes out next week. So if you're interested in actually getting traffic on your site and actually launching your site, you need a little push. I'm going to do it the right way, or at least my way. Be sure to check out the course, sign up for the email list and all that stuff. All right, everybody have a good weekend. See you later.